Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, I'm going to be reviewing my recent flight on Malindo Air business class from Kuala Lumpur to Jakarta in April 2025. Our flight today is from Kuala Lumpur International Airport to Jakarta Soekarno-Hatta Airport and clocks in at just over 1,100 kilometers with a flight time of an hour and a half. Before my flight, I popped in to the Sama-Sama Lounge at Kuala Lumpur International Airport. I did a full review of this lounge, which is linked at the end of this video. Check it out. Having gotten a bite to eat in the lounge, it was time for me to make my way to the gate. The lounge was located approximately a 5-minute walk away from my gate, so it didn't take me too long to get there. And along the way, I got to view this very interesting Malaysian artwork which had been set up, showing off the Peranakan culture and style popular in Malaysia. My flight today was departing from gate C12, which interestingly was the gate I arrived at on my inbound flight. Unfortunately, however, the gate was incredibly crowded and there was no separate line for business class passengers. This is of course not the end of the world, but it would have been preferable, as I had to wait about 15 minutes to go through security. Having cleared security, I got a nice view of a Boeing 737-800, which was going to take us today to Jakarta. Having flown this exact plane type barely 2 hours earlier, I wasn't surprised by what I found on board, but I was pleased all the same. The seat is one of those old school business class seats, really wide, tons of legroom, and in a 2-2 configuration instead of a 1-2-1 or 1-1, which is more common on modern business class products. Whilst there was no in-flight entertainment, you didn't need it. You had 2 oversized windows to take in the incredible view for the next hour and a half. We began pushing back from the gate about 20 minutes after I boarded the plane. It took about 10 minutes to get to the runway, but it was no hassle. It gave me plenty of time to look at all the various aircrafts from other airlines as we got there. Normally I speed this segment up. However, I'm going to play it in full here, so you can take in the incredible takeoff. As I mentioned earlier, this is an incredibly short flight, so about 10 minutes after we took off, the crew sprang into action and set up the table for our in-flight meal. Our meal today consisted of a lamb curry with rice, some coated wasabi peas, a slice of lemon cake and a bread roll. I ordered a Pepsi Max on the side. Overall, I was fairly impressed by this. The flight is an hour and a half from wheels up to wheels down, so to get a hot meal is good in my book. The cake and the bread roll were a little bit plain, but really, it's an hour and a half flight. You've got to have realistic expectations. This was a solid meal. By the way, if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe. Having finished my meal, I headed into the toilet to take a look, and encountered the exact same problem I had on my outbound flight. Look, I'm not a giant. I'm about 6 foot, 6'1" on a good day, but I was hitting my head trying to use this thing. Due to the curvature of the aircraft, it actually has a really low ceiling close to the wall, which unfortunately is where the toilet is located. Maybe not a problem if you're a lady, but for a guy, it was an issue. I settled back into my seat and took in the amazing views out of these large, oversized windows. Honestly, I really didn't feel the need for in-flight entertainment here. I brought my iPad, which was stocked up with Netflix, but I didn't use it. I just spent the rest of my flight gazing out of a window. Before I knew it, it was time to land. Let's watch. We touched down on an absolutely gorgeous day in Jakarta, bright, sunny, and hot as usual. We had a short taxi to the gate, and then it was time to disembark our plane. We landed in Jakarta Terminal 2. Unfortunately, I prefer landing into Terminal 3. It's much more modern. But still, immigration didn't take that long, and before I knew it, I was waiting for my car outside, which I'd pre-booked, to take me to the city centre. Unusually for Jakarta, traffic actually wasn't too bad today, and we were making great progress on the highway before we knew it. Overall, I was very impressed with this flight. I'll be honest with you, I had low expectations going into it. For those of you that watch my channel regularly, you see that I mostly fly on Singapore Airlines. This is simply due to the fact that I live in Singapore, and so being a national carrier, it has the most options to fly regionally. It does, however, set the standard very high for what a flight can be. That said, I just really enjoyed this flight. And I like this airline too. I think it's the seat. I think a lot of airlines, and Singapore Airlines is guilty of this, have made their regional business class products too complicated. They're so insistent on lie flat beds and all that jazz that they've kind of forgotten the primary purpose of a seat for 2 hours is just to be comfortable. Just be wide, give you enough space. I don't need a lie flat seat for a short hop from Malaysia to Jakarta. I don't need a movie library full of tons of movies I'm not going to be able to watch. And this is really where this airline nailed it. The seats, you'd have to sit in them to know what I'm talking about. They were just so comfortable. These windows, I would guess, are maybe 50% larger than the typical windows you see on an aeroplane, and it was so satisfying to just lie back and watch the clouds roll by for the duration of my journey. I would absolutely recommend this airline, and I would fly it again. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is this an airline you'd consider flying? Or would you find the lack of in-flight entertainment too jarring for a flight of any length? Thanks for watching.